Hello everyone, my name is Starrapter. Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to recap the important events that happened in Star Wars Shadowfall. This is the second book in Alexander Freed's Alphabet Squadron trilogy. Even though this video will contain spoilers for the story, I do encourage you to read or listen to the book as it's one of my favorites. The story takes place a few months after the Battle of Endor and just a few weeks after the events of Alphabet Squadron. During this time, the New Republic is the dominant force in the galaxy, while for the first time the Empire is the underdog. The majority of the story takes place in the Sauron system, which is in a deep core. This system is unique because it doesn't contain any stars, but it does have a massive black hole. Planets like Troith have to use solar projectors in order to have day-night cycles. The Imperial-occupied metropolis world of Troith is where the story begins. Alphabet Squadron is in the middle of an operation to liberate the planet from the Imperial Remnant. Will Lark and Nath Tensent weave through skyscrapers taking out AT-ATs while Kairos drops off troops in her U-Wing. Meanwhile, Yrica Quell and Chasna Chaddock defeat the remaining TIEs in space. This mission is another success for the New Republic. The Imperial side of the conflict is from the perspective of Shadowwing, an elite force of pilots that Alphabet Squadron desperately seeks to destroy. We experience this side of the story from the perspective of Major Sauron Kais. Sauron has come back to Shadowwing after leaving the squadron sometime after Operation Cinder. Sauron learns of the death of his previous commander grandmother and feels a responsibility to get vengeance for the survivors of the elite TIE wing. The pilots of Shadowwing don't welcome him back to full capacity, however, and he's treated more as an advisor. Sauron leads his men to rebuild all that they lost at Pandem 9. They are able to rebuild more TIEs that they get from Jabbanov. They also track down and rebuild a fallen Star Destroyer, the Edict. Sauron isn't sure on what to do with Shadowwing. He is undecided on if they should join the greater Imperial fleet or do more hit-and-run missions on their own. This decision is difficult for Sauron and shows that he is not exactly a true believer of the Empire. Hera Syndulla has been in charge of the New Republic's campaign on Troith, and their latest mission is to take over the capital. The New Republic forces involved in the mission are Meteor Squadron, Hail Squadron, Alphabet Squadron, and the 61st Mobile Infantry aka Twilight Company. Once Will and Quell take out the shield generators surrounding the city, the Y-Wings come in to clean up the rest. A secondary objective during the operation is to leave enough of the enemy around to hopefully lure Shadowwing. Unfortunately, this does not go the way it's planned. Kairos is one of the many injured by the onrush of stormtroopers at the Tri-Center complex. Karen Adan, the New Republic intelligence officer responsible for putting together Alphabet Squadron, is kidnapped when he attempts to go see Kairos. Quell and Nath stage an ops mission where they track down his Imperial captors on a nearby planet of Katadra. Quell and Nath find Adan in very bad condition. They are successful in rescuing Adan, but not without great consequences for Yrica Quell. Adan had a fail-safe message that would be broadcasted to the other members of Alphabet Squadron if he was ever captured or killed. This message told the truth of Quell's involvement of Narconis during Operation Cinder. She was guilty of actively participating in the destruction of the planet rather than trying to save lives. The lies she had been telling her crew for months did not go over well for her. For several weeks, Alphabet Squadron had been planning another way to bait Shadowwing to Troith. Quell had come up with a plan that would involve them entering Troith by landing on an incoming asteroid to mask their arrival. However, the 61st Mobile Infantry would already be camped out on the same asteroid and ready to take out the unsuspecting TIEs. This method would reduce the casualties for the New Republic substantially. Feeling confident with Quell's plan, Hera Syndulla takes leave of Troith and goes to the Nadiri shipyards to assist Vanguard Squadron, who we'll see in Star Wars Squadrons. Sauron is promoted to a colonel by the leaders of the 6 squadrons that fly for Shadowwing. Shadowwing now consists of the 6 squadrons of fighters, TIE drones, a cruiser carrier, the Eerie, and the Star Destroyer Edict. Sauron thought about falling for the trap that Quell had laid for him after finding out that Troith was in trouble. However, he had a better plan in mind to save the planet's Imperials. Sauron's attack on Troith came days earlier than the New Republic expected. The New Republic was far from prepared, especially since Shadowwing was attacking them head-on and not arriving on the asteroid. Alphabet Squadron was down 2 men with Kairos injured and Quell being grounded from flying for her lies about Operation Cinder. Will Lark, Nath Tensent, and Chasna Chaddock rush out alongside Meteor Squadron to intercept the cruiser carrier Eerie at the nearby planet of Katadra. Will opens up communication with a pilot of Shadow Wing and they tell him to go back to Troyth. Nath follows Will back. The battle is bloody with heavy losses on both sides. Chas, dead set on taking out the cruiser carrier, fails to do so. Her B-Wing runs out of gas thanks to her bender from the night before. Quell is still grounded on the New Republic Acclimator class cruiser the Lodestar during the battle. She uses a smuggling freighter to escape since her own droid wouldn't let her fly her X-Wing. It turns out that Adan was also on the ship when she flew it out of the Lodestar. Quell's freighter, not having the firepower to take out the cruiser carrier, uses the tractor beam to hurl a meteor at one of the carrier's hangar bays. This breaks the magnetic seal on the carrier, which will eventually cause its doom. Soon after Quell damages the carrier, she is traced by Colonel Soren Kais, who happens to be Quell's mentor from her Imperial days. Soren guns down Quell in his time and leaves her for dead, unsuspecting of who she actually is. As Will and Nath race towards Troyth, they find the Star Destroyer Edict releasing the full might of Shadow Wing. The Star Destroyer broadsides the Lodestar, and eventually both ships crash into the shield above the capital city. As the capital city's shields fail for a few moments, Shadow Wing and some New Republic forces make it through. The Imperials now are back in control of Troyth. The tables have turned and Will, Nath, and a small force of the 61st Mobile Infantry are the only New Republic forces to take back the planet, the rest of the squadrons being destroyed during the battle. The first order of business for Soren is to black out all communication on the planet to prevent any reinforcements. The New Republic forces on Troyth go back to the rebellion routes, fighting guerrilla style with hit and run tactics. Will and Nath come up with a plan to use souped up speeders in order to get them to the Core 9 mining facility. The facility would be a great place for the forces to hold out against the Imps until reinforcements arrive. Chasna Chaddock was rescued while floating in space above Katadra by a cult named the Children of the Empty Sun. Chas learns of another TIE pilot while in the presence of this cult and decides to join in order to find out more. Chas is a reminder of her time growing up in a cult with her mother back on Nar Shaddaa. She becomes accustomed to the many practices of the cult while in their care on Katadra. While with the cult, Chas gets a few opportunities to speak to the Shadow Wing pilot. Chas learns of a way off thanks to the planet, but needs access from the cult leader. Through some violence, Chas gets a key to unlock the cult leader's hangar. She is surprised to find her B-Wing in the hangar and leaves the planet of Katadra. Quell wakes up to find herself crashed on a planetoid after Soren had shot down her vessel. Adan is okay for the moment and they set off to track down IDO, the squadron's reprogrammed therapy droid. Upon further travels, they find a Sith tower that may hold their solution to get off the planetoid and back to Troyth. Unfortunately, Adan succumbs to his wounds that he suffered on Katadra, but not before imparting crucial knowledge to Quell. Quell undergoes a strange vision in connection to the dark power of the tower in order to open its door. Will and Nath are successful in building up a small ragtag squadron and commence their attack on the Core 9 facility. Problem is that Soren has already decided to use the facility for his own purposes of escape. Within the facility there is an ore freighter that can be used for him and his squadron to escape Troyth. Will, who is the leader of his makeshift squadron, begins the attack on the facility by having Nath blow a hole in its bunker entrance. The makeshift squadron then gives cover to the 61st Mobile Infantry as they make their way through the small crack in the bunker. The pilots of Shadow Wing do not make things easy for the ragtag squadron as they pick off the infantry running for the bunker. The battle rages on through the adjacent canyons of the Core 9 facility as the ragtag group tries to draw the tie's fire. As the New Republic forces wear thin, Harrison Duel arrives on the Temperance along with Chas and Vanguard Squadron. However, the reinforcements are not enough and Shadow Wing once again slips through the New Republic's fingers and into hyperspace. The New Republic ended up capturing Imperial Governor Far Yendez and sets up a civilian government for Troyth. Will, Nath, and Chaddock were reunited with Kairos, who, lacking her mask, was almost unrecognizable. The mysterious member of Alphabet Squadron was described as having a face comprised of chitinous plating, deep-set eyes, and thin black lips. After working with the Governor Far Yendez, Soren knew that the people of the Empire were worth fighting for. Maybe Soren wasn't a true believer in the Empire, but he would like to think that he could save the people from the New Republic. Soren agrees to working with Grand Admiral Sloane's fleet. She mentions that she has a special assignment for him since his squadron was involved with Operation Cinder. Somehow, the Red Messenger droid of the Emperor had survived the destruction of Pandem Nye, the Eyrie, and the Edict to end up on the ore freighter with Soren. The droid was mangled, missing one of its arms, the Emperor's visage flashing across its black visor and saying its Operation Cinder commands out of order. Quell does find a ship hidden away at the Sith Tower. The ship is a bit of an unusual design, and it does have a cloaking device. Before Sauron's Orpherator leaves the Cerberon system, she is able to secretly latch onto the ship. Shadowfall ends when Sauron questions what Quell is doing aboard his ship, and Quell responds, "Lieutenant Quell reporting for duty." So that is the story for Star Wars Shadowfall in broad strokes. What did you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. For more on Shadowfall, you can check out my review of the novel as well as many other Star Wars videos on the channel. Like what you see, you can stay up to date with all the future content simply by subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.